this is Smokey, and today I'd like to show you my 12 obsidian per second lava bucket to obsidian converter. Now what this machine does is it takes shulker boxes filled with lava buckets and unloads them in the shulker box unloader. And once the lava buckets get unloaded, they will get distributed among these 6 hopper lines, and each one of these hopper lines inputs into 2 of the 12 dispensers facing into this wither cage. And once the dispensers are activated, the lava will get instantly converted into obsidian because of this water, and then the wither will break it. Right after that, the buckets will get shot out as well, and all of the items will end up right here next to this slime block, and then this piston will launch the items the opposite way out of the farm and up this Y1 item elevator. Alright, now I can show you the farm working. Now if you input a whole double chest full of shulker boxes with lava, subtracting the time it takes for the items to get to the dispensers and for the items to get out of the farm, it takes slightly over 2 minutes for all of that lava to get converted to obsidian. So let me just copy in a whole double chest, and the shulker box unloader will start unloading the items and putting the empty boxes in here. Now I will turn on the farm and come down here. So as you can see, the wither is getting damaged and the obsidian is getting broken. The wither is getting damaged every 20 game ticks. And all the items are ending up here, like I said, and getting launched over here and into the item elevator. So let me just go up here. Almost halfway done already. And I will tick warp the rest. Alright, all done. So let me turn off the farm, and as you can see, all the empty boxes ended up here and all of the items ended up here. So I'll pick them up, and there's more than my inventory can hold, but that's to be expected. Now let's talk about the rates of the farm. So as I said before, the farm runs on a 20 game tick clock, which means 12 obsidian per second, or 43.2k obsidian and 43.2k buckets per hour. Now this farm is not lossless. I did an 18.5 hour game time test with carpet mod tick warp and item counters, and after having 801,198 lava buckets inputted into the system, I lost 8 buckets and 6 obsidian, which is approximately 0.001% of buckets and 0.001% of obsidian. Now given that the loss rate of the percentages are so low, I think that they're acceptable, and I'm pretty sure that a single cell iron farm could keep up with the loss. My only 2 theories of why this happens is that either the wither skulls from the wither are somehow destroying items below the bedrock, or that items are glitching into the wall and despawning. The only way I could really test these theories is by constantly watching the farm for like 10 days or something. This farm fits snugly within an entire chunk, so you can chunk load it fairly easily. However, you'll be more limited upon which 3x3 bedrock locations you can use. Now you can also build this farm in any direction, but depending on which direction you use, you'll have to align the carts slightly differently. Now let's talk a little bit more in depth about each part of the farm. So this is the shulker box unloader that I designed. It's fairly simple. It just has an activator rail locking these 2 hopper mine carts. So when the piston breaks the empty shulker box, it goes in this hopper here and into the chest instead of being sucked up by the hopper mine carts. Now you can input shulker boxes with any number of lava buckets. However, if you put an empty box in there, you'll have to flick the lever because it won't be able to detect it. Now if you input shulker boxes with like only 1/3 the items full and you input like a ton of those, the farm won't run at max speed because the unloader won't be able to keep up. But if you put in boxes with full of lava buckets or nearly full, it should always be able to keep up. Now just for reference, I have 2 minecarts here, 2 minecarts here, and 4 minecarts down here. You could get away with only 2 hopper minecarts over 6 hoppers. However, this way it's more evenly distributed, so the farm will finish sooner. This is the item elevator that I'm using. It's Ilmango's simple trapdoor one. However, I rewired it for Y1 and Ida helped compact it. Now, if you're worried about items glitching over into where this torch is here, they can't, because the item is always aligned with this glass here, and if the trapdoor closes on them, they will always be closer to this water here or this water here, and they won't be closer to here. But if you're still worried about this, I made a whole testing world where I tested this. So this is the testing world where I tested this. I basically have the same item elevator with the torch here, and I just have these command blocks here, the same ones that Ilmango had in his world download, and basically I have this elevator in every direction and orientation. And I tick warped this for a couple hours and no items glitched over here. If they did, they would go in this chest and light up this lamp. And I've never seen any items get lost or anything weird like that. So yeah, but if you really don't like that, you can always just add something like this and then have this like that or something like that. That should work. And by the way, to keep up with the output speed of this farm, you need 5 hopper speed worth of hoppers for buckets and 5 hopper speed worth of hoppers for obsidian. Alright, so the next part of this farm is this sticky piston slime block pusher. Now this is tricky because if you turn off the farm while it's still processing, you want to give enough time for the items to get over here to get pushed. So in order to do that, you need a lot of extra delay. So right here I have a dropper with a bunch of items, and every time the main clock goes around, one item gets dispensed into this cobweb here, and then when this hopper picks it up after a certain amount of delay, it sends the signal down to here, which powers this piston here. But if you don't care, then you can just remove all that and only put one observer here next to the rail. And if you turn off the farm while it's still processing, items can get stuck here and despawn. But that's really up to you. This is the wither damager I'm using in my farm. The actual mechanism itself I got from Ray's Works, one of his testing worlds. And I really like this design because it's super simple. But I did modify it very slightly to meet my needs. And I'm running it on a 20 game tick clock, which is fast enough to where he won't die, but he'll get damaged fast enough so he can never break this block or this piston. You may be wondering why I have a dispenser here, and that is because with this wither damager here, there's a very small chance upon startup the wither can break the block, and this is only upon startup, not while it's running. While it's running, there's no chance for him to break the block, or when it's turning off he can't break it. But when it turns on, there's a very small chance he could damage himself right before that and break the block. So that's what this primer does. It primes the wither by shooting an arrow at him before the farm starts. And I can this machine here simulates turning the machine on and off. So it cycles twice and then it turns off. So first let me take away the primer and tick warp this. Now if we're lucky here, in a short amount of time we'll be able to see the diamond block break eventually. But like I said, remember, this is just simulating turning it on and off. Oh, yep, there we go. It broke. So now let's turn that off and replace these and add the primer back. So now I'll turn this on again, tick warp it. Now with this setup here, I ran it for 120 hours in-game time, never broke. It's very interesting, this here, and I think one arrow when turning on the machine is very cheap, and you could fill this double chest up and turn the machine on 3,000 times and not have to refill it. If you want to test this yourself, of course, check out the world download, and you can see if it breaks. And of course, this endermite here is just so the wither can track it and fly upwards, otherwise he would fall down and suffocate in the bedrock. Let's talk about the basics of this design. So you need to get one lava bucket in the dispensers at a time, and I'm doing this by using droppers. You could also do this by blocking hoppers, however I like this better. So the way I achieve this is this dispenser gets powered, and then 2 game ticks later this dropper gets powered. Otherwise, if I just power this dropper, the lava bucket will get spat into the dispenser and then immediately get powered and place it instead of just putting it in here. Now the reason why I have to have this repeater here right next to it and not like a block away is because I need to activate this dropper too. So to avoid this problem, I just